Hey everybody, it's Mikkel Hale with Redline Realty Team. Super excited to give you just a quick market update because I know there's been a lot of noise and a lot of different things, people talking about what's going on with the real estate market nationally as long as what's going on here locally in Utah. And so I just wanted to take a second to go over just a few things that kind of drive what I guess controls the U.S. real estate market. Number one, home sales, number of homes sold. If we look at the number of homes sold, obviously last year we were almost the highest number of homes sold in history that we had. If we look at the best 5 years from 2002 to 2006, we're actually right on pace almost, if we continue what we're projected to in 2022, to be about the same number of homes sold. Last year we had 6.1 million homes sold in the US, and we're projected to be right about 6 million this year as well. So there are definitely people moving, buying homes. All the talk about there's no homes available for sale. This right here just shows you that homes are selling. They're just moving quicker. The days on market are shorter, but there are definitely still homes being sold right now. If we compare 2020 to 2021, we're actually right on pace, maybe just a little bit less inventory across the nation month over month, but really very similar as far as back on track as far as the numbers compared to a year ago. Second piece of this is going to be home prices. If we take the average appreciation of 4% from 1990 and we go 4% increase, which is considered a healthy appreciation, we are actually just barely exceeding that. So you can see that it did cross that 4% trend line back in 2001. It took 5 years, of above that trend line before we had a market correction. But you can see where we're at right now. In 2021 was the first year that we've actually got back to that 4% trend line where we should be had we not had any kind of market crash and just the same healthy appreciation over the last decade. So what will be interesting to see is what's going to happen over the next couple of years if we do continue to see a high increase of appreciation. So we might see a little bit of a pullback, but I think we're definitely looking at a different situation as what caused the last recession versus right now. We definitely have a supply issue, which is pushing prices up. If we look at, again, home prices compared to the interest rates, really it's just going to show that month over month, home prices don't necessarily follow interest rate trends. We've seen a pretty healthy level of appreciation, pretty consistent, steady rate. We've seen rates over the last couple of years, make some significant changes. But as rates as of today, obviously have gone up, it will hurt affordability, but not necessarily big change in home values with interest rate changes. If we look at annual appreciation over certain sections, certain years, if we do look at, the last time we had the recession where home prices did decline, there's a lot of people just waiting on the sidelines saying, oh, we're going to wait till interest rates go down, or we're going to wait until home prices drop 50% because that's what's going to happen if we see another market correction. It'd have to be a pretty significant amount to really change, because if we look at what happened in 2006 to 2011, the total we saw only a 4% decline per year for a few years, and the worst year appreciation we saw in 2009 was only a 12% decline. However, it is very interesting to see the appreciation we have experienced over the last 3 years, very, very significant. That's probably the highest appreciation in a 3-year period we've seen historically. Home prices. And then also our inventory is going to be the next part that makes up the affordability factor. So what they consider to be a balanced, neutral market, where we have enough homes that it's not necessarily a buyer or seller market. A neutral, balanced market would be 6 months of inventory. We haven't seen that for a little while, but if we look at that 6 months line right here, it's been since 2012 where we've had 6 months of inventory. We've declined during this time where we had way more inventory and it was a buyer's market at this time. What happened was builders and the cities were encouraging these homes to be sold, and so brakes were put on hold as far as building new units. ever since then, our population has continued to grow. And so we've been playing catch up because we did put a lot of building permits and building jobs on hold during this time while we recovered here. And we're just playing catch up as far as the number of homes that we need for our population. However, we're climbing back up. We're at 2.3 month supply of inventory at the end of 2021. In Utah, we're looking about 1 month supply right now versus about 6 months ago, we were counting weeks instead of months. So we're starting to climb a little bit. But again, as you're looking around and seeing all this new building on these new subdivisions, that is exactly how we're fixing this problem, is by creating more inventory. And I think that's going to help kind of level out our market as far as having homes to sell. Again, if we look at our inventory month over month, we are very similar to what we saw in 2020. We did have, a little bit more inventory 2020 with COVID and the pandemic. We saw that did change things a little bit, but again, we've kind of recovered from that and we're back on track. People buying homes again at a high level. Part of that is going to be because of this next component right here, which is mortgage interest rates. I'm sure you've, again, heard a lot about interest rates and what's going to happen with rates. If we look at the annual mortgage rate percentages over the last decade or more, if we actually go back from 1990 to 2020, you'll see that the historical average has been about a 6% interest rate. But if we go all the way back to even the 70s, we are looking at closer to an 8% on average. And you can see the peak here back in the 80s. 16%, that's insane. I don't think we'll ever reach that height, but I also don't think that the new normal is going to be 3%. So if you're out waiting until interest rates come back down to make a move, could be a little bit risky because, again, that's never happened in history. If the average is 6%, and right now, as of this month making this video, interest rates are right about 5%. So again, below the historical average we've seen over the last decade. One thing to think about interest rates is if you were to buy a home right now, get a 5% interest rate, if interest rates continue to go up, you've at least locked in now, which is great. If interest rates go down, you always have the ability to refinance. And a lot of people did take advantage of that. This time when we saw a lot of refinances when interest rates were in the 3s. So I would say be cautious about interest rates because yes, it's important, but also something that could change. And the great thing is you always have the ability to refinance if rates were to go down. But before they get back up into the 6, maybe 7 range, maybe think about time to make a move while they still are below the historical average. Again, this is going to kind of just show the fluctuation with rates we have seen. Again, at the time of this video, we have seen over the last couple of months some pretty drastic increases in rates, but I think that's also going to help with our supply and demand issue a little bit too. So with almost free money, of course, there were a lot of buyers in the market. So if you're thinking about making a move, I'd love to talk to you more about some of these things here. Overall affordability, they look at couple different things. They look at home prices, mortgage rates, and the ratio of your income. And this 20% trend line would mean exactly 20% of your income is what it takes to afford the median home price. And you can see anything below 20% is actually a good thing. It's going to be in a more affordable market. Interest rates have a big part to do with this. Obviously, if the home prices stay the same, interest rates go up, payment goes up, then that means we're going to be a less affordable market. So because of lower rates, home prices, you can see that right now we are getting less affordable. So we're getting closer back up to that 20% of your income. Again, across the nation, a little bit different story in Utah. We're closer to that 20% as far as our home prices here. But all of the adjustments the feds make, interest rates, those are all going to be based on what's going on across the nation. So this is kind of what we're looking at is those decisions or interest rate increases are going to be based on affordability across the nation, not necessarily one specific market. So again, I'd love to talk to you more. The good question is this a good time for you to move? And I think the answer is going to be it depends on your specific circumstance, your income, maybe the equity you have in the home, and what your goals are. I think there's still a great opportunity to move. Again, interest rates are still below what they are historically. Home prices are projected to still increase over the next year or so. Maybe slowing down a little bit, but I'd love to talk to you and see if it's something that would make sense for you or your family. So hope this information is helpful. Love bringing you some local insight, and hopefully if you have any questions, you'll feel comfortable to reach out to me, and I'd love to sit down and see if there's anything I can do for you.